Hello viewers, welcome to Core for Any. If you hear new, hit subscribe buttons and notification bell so you can never miss any our incredible content. Flutter taxi app inside today we need to see this here this user list inside the reflect real time the receive any message we need to update this here as well as the update this here the base like this we need to create and callings and also need to set here the clear buttons we need to configure and we need to calling this here. First of all, we need to modify this here the API support message and need to add this here the also response for the sockets. We need to adding here the payloads inside the sending user information needs here because we need to sometime maybe possible here not users need to new message receive here. That's why I need to add this here the this user records. That's why I need this here this user records are the needed for the our database and need to include append this data here. First of all need to go here the support message and need to identify here the sender receiver the sockets. We need to need this here first of all the gets here the current user data. We need to need this here, so need to write down here the one query and we need to get this users information. So need to getting this here. First of all need to write down here one query, need to append here, need to multiple query fire here. Second query you need to write down here the select for select and you need to copy this here the user list connects informations. We need to need this here for this users details. We need to need this here, so we need to copy this query here, grab this row and I need to paste this here this query and we need to put this here this user information. So now need to give this here the sender user ID. You need to pass this here sender request object dot receiver ID need to set here like this and to get this here the informations. And now also need to copy here some value. We need to need this here and to give this here the defaults value we need to put this here for the this support message list. We need to need this here, go here and we need to get here these informations. We need to need this here, copy here also to copy this image, created dates and base counts. Like we need to copy and we need to paste inside this insert query after replace with this here. Now need to remove here ud and call this here single quotes. Also need to write down here single quote and need to also remove here. Like this we need to configurations are the needs this here and now need to check here that's 0 and we need to write down here the 0 index top like this. Need to like some configurations are the calling here. Now also appends here user info is equal to need to pass this here these results 1. Need to check this here result 0 1 length more than 0 then possible this, otherwise we need to array invalid users. Like this we need to configure here these conditions and this is the modify here. Now also need to restart this node.js, save and we need to configure this here and then after we need to go inside the support message view and we need to copy this here, this sockets configurations. We need to receive here the new message, copy here, and we need to paste this here inside this on listens events. And also need to make sure, so we need to put this here the is mounted, then update this here the set states, otherwise not call this here the set methods. Others need to inside, we need to print this here the logs here, printing some logs, error logs. We need to, that's why I need to make sure, so need to mount it, need to write down here like these configurations are the needed here. And then after, so need to write down here the gets here the user info, where to write down here user info is equal to, need to write down here the data, and we need to calling this here the key, give this here user info, and we need to get this here the map objects optionals double question marks, and to write down here like these conditions. We need to apply these years and to configure these years. And then after, we need to one more things, we need to configure here. We need to find out here the this array, and we need to find these objects. We need to need these here. First of all, we need to check these constants available or not, where we need to write down here if get this here the for each, and write down here the for each message list array dot for each. You need to call this here for each, or in methods the object like this. List array like this. We need to call this here, and now we need to if conditions. To get this here the user ID, first of all user ID is equal, need to get this here this value, save here, copy here, sender ID is equal to need to copy this value user objects, pass this here equal to need to pound this here like these conditions. If we need to pounds, then we need to update these objects message key. So need to this here, copy here, now need to paste, and we need to this here message, save here. Also need to modify here message type. Now here not matter, but if you configure here the image, then you need to need this here the types. That's why I have already prepared these things. Now need to update here the last created dates also here, dates. We need to find years, create, replace this years equal to get this here dates, replace with this years. And also we need to update this here the base. We need to updates like this base count paste years is equal to m object, set here the 0, and we need to copy this here this value, paste here plus 1 like this. We need to configure as integers. We need to pass this here integer optional. Like this configures. Also need to set here user exist. Able to set here the false, and also need to fix this here the typo. Copy here, write down here sender user object like this. Need to set this here user exist, check here, and to set this flags as a true, and need to break this here the break statement. Need to call this here and stop these executions, and to increase some process need to release here. You find first array inside gets, that's need to remaining no need to check, that's why we need to break here these statements and executes here the next statements. Now need to call this here if this is the optimize here the codes for the process, need to unused process need to remove here like this to break. And no need to others remaining parts need to check, that's why need to break sets here and to exit this for loops and exit these for loops process are the break here. And now we need to check this here the user are exist not exist, like this conditions we need to check this here. If not exist need to create insert this records inside the updates. Now need to call this here the list array and to insert of the zero index we need to set this here. First of all need to give this here the zero index, and we need to put this here the array informations. Need to sender users, we need to like this, we need to set configurations are the needed here, and also need to copy this value. You need to copy here, and we need to configure this here the user objects, and like these conditions we need to apply this here. Copy these objects and replace some value. This always gets here once, and write down here semicolons. And to insert its zero index we need to put this here. Also need to write down here these conditions set states. Now here to like this callings append this updates here the data for the receiving new users the message, and now need to configure here the base counts for this UI. First of all need to go displaying here the base counts, need to need this here, and also need to modify here the one node API we need to modify for the open these files. That time need to update this here the read counts, need to most important parts here. I need this here the read as need to configures. And now we need to go inside the this supports message user cells, so needs here the set here the base counts. We need to create here the row, need to create row and expand this message field, wrap with widgets, and write down here the expand. And we need to one more things, we need to set here the next lines, set here once, and overflow need to write down here overflow, set here text overflow, set eclipse like this sets here these configurations. Now need to copy this here, this base counts need to put this here like here conditions. Now need to give this here base counts parameters, need to pass this here, and also need to convert as a string. And need to one more things, need to get here this counts, need to identify how many works. Copy this here, check this value here where base count is equal to, need to write down here this codes, paste this here, and now need to convert inside the integers. Optionals, we need to get this here the 0. Like this, we need to get this here the value, the base counts. Now we need to check if to write down here more than 0, then display, otherwise not display. And also need to create here the another widgets containers, and to draw here the height and width, we need to define here constants, contents, and give this here minimum width, need to set here the 10, and minimum height set here 10. Maybe need to is good. And also need to set here the paddings, const, pages insert. Also need to give this here the 2, and we need to set here the const value. And after we need to set this here the text colors, we need to give this here color white, primary white colors, we need to give this here. And we need to set this here fonts, we need to set 11s, and we need to font weight, we need to give this here 600 semi bolts, we need to set this here. After we need to create here the box decorations are the needed here, write down here the box decorations, and need to create here the colors, color primary, need to set this here. After need to border radius, we need to set this here border radius circulars, and to give this here the 10s. Like these configurations are the needed here, and we need to configure this here. And now need to fix this here the errors, we need to configure here, and maybe issue with this here the constant box of the minimum, need to check this here file supports not integers is not support in cast string, need to check this here. Here try parse, colors, configurations, zero, save here. And also need to check which place now gets these errors. Like this, that's yours. Is count dot to string, we need this here, give this, and also need to give this here the change this here mini, and also need to give this here the alignments and this here alignment, set here centers. Now we need to increase this here the minimum width, set here, and we need to see here. Like this counts here the displaying here, and look like this display, and we need to create these cells more effective and like this show, but we need to create here container, and we need to create here the decorations, here color or white. Set this here the border radius. Circulars need to set this here the pi, and also need to give this here the padding. Edges insert symmetric, not symmetric, we need to give this here the 8 paddings, all 8. Launch value is sets here. The 15, and also need to modify inside the user supports list. View inside we need to chapters verticals, need to remove these paddings, no needs, only the here the containers. Like this UI not the displaying, and also need to set here 10. Maybe no need separators, need to remove here. Let's go this row, and we need to set here heading only, bottom need to give like this. UI are the like this. Now effectings and displaying goods, this UI. Now we need to one more things modifications, we need to need this here the calling here the get supports. Yeah, we need the terminals and HTC. Need to call this here the API. This response, this API calling times, need to calling this here the update this base counts, need to needs here update this base counts, need this here. First of all need to modify this API, need to call this here the read methods, need to calling this here, need to copy this here the query, and to call here, need to update here the message for these users. Now we need to insert times send this message not, but here the API here's write down query and update here and to give here the port set messages set, and we need to set here the status is equal to, need to give this here the 2 for the read, check inside the columns. I have opened this database, and to manage this receive message we need to set this here the 1 for this specific user senders, and to set here the ones, need to write down like this, set here status 1 and set here where conditions sender ID is equal to question mark, and we need to call this here request object dot receiver ID like this, and to calling this here and also need to write down here the end conditions. Status is equal to 0 and only hit this records. Then after we need to write down here the that's errors view result. Now we need to check if it gets any errors and not returns any response. We need to here because we need to already send here the response. That's why I need and write down here the results and affected row more than 0. Then means we need .dlog in this year's user base reset. Done. Else parts down here user base update L. Save this years. Like this we need to calling this years and check this years. Now need to save and to restart this node servers and also need to test this years work or not. Need to test this years to opens now and here the response as a fails not working. Not reset here this users maybe wrong columns updates. You need this here the senders and receiver need to specify here receiver. Otherwise other users message also updates. All these years request user check user ID. Like this configuration are the needs. By dates. Now need to test against. Not updates, we need to get this here the fails message. Maybe mistake with here the user ID here passed here wrong user ID. Need to set this here the user ID need to pass here's request user ID save this here's gets here blank. That's why need to like these errors. Now test against click on back. Now select here's now need to check this here the node.js response and to user base reset done. So need to get this here and now click on back and to remove this here the base. And now also need to another simulators need to start this here before. So need to create here one clear chats message, you need to call this here the write down here the API. Inside this corners you need to put this here the clear chats buttons, need to put this here. Now I need to go here and need to write down here the buttons for the clear chats. Go message view and we need to write down here the action button. Set here the text buttons on press events, all this here, and we need to text page. Set here clear one. This is the SOP clears, not hard clears. Always need to call database inside the SOP clears. Not use here the full clears because after not retrieve this message. That's why I need to always call this here the SOP clears. Now need to set this here the text styles. Need to give this here the colors. Color primary colors need to give this here, and then after need to set this here the font size, need to give this here the 17, and also need to this here the font weight, need to set here the 700 bolts, so need to set this here. These configurations are the need this here and to configure like this. Configurations are the needs here and to configures. Now need to check this here the this informations valid or not, so need to check done, but need to call this here the another API, copy this here this message, and we need to clear message API, call this here into SV support, clear, call this API with these parameters, need to pass this here, and we need to see the clear support message, need to clear here, and also need to write down here thank you array. If you get here the success, now we need to call these actions here in these clear buttons to write down here the actions void message actions. Here call this here message like this. Pass this here the parameters, user ID equal to not equal colon, and its dots users ID need to give string cheers, and call these action methods inside this action button. Save here. Now need to test this API, and to calling this here receiver ID, need to change this parameter names as a receiver ID, need to change this here save here HTC, and to clean this here. Now go back here, not gets any data, calling this the loadings, you need to check this here, disappears, maybe issue with the Node.js API. Gets here the format match not found the functions, need to fix this here this issue. line number 8 nines. Maybe delete these functions. Need to change these functions names. All these functions here, and we need to fix. Now go back, get these errors and to errors. And we need to push these codes. Now here working goods, and also need to test this here the this base counts updates or not. Need to check this here the okay, working or not. Need to get with sockets. Need to first of all the start another simulators in our systems. Following these years, need to start another simulators here, and we need to test this here. And one more things, we need to update these users, and first we need to set this like here the UI. Need to settings here. First of all, we need to go inside this codes, and we need to how can fix this. Need to get this here, open this here support list and to sockets, and we need to write down here the personal. Copy here, and we need to set this here this user objects is equal to save here. There is exist, this meaning says user exists, and to clear this list, remove objects and to pass this here the object. Then we need to again insert these results in first positions. We need to give here, save this like here, and now we need to select here other simulators, and we need to go runs, start debuggings. Now I am waiting for the loading this UI. in another device. Now we need to go this here's settings and select here the supports. Then after we need to open this user drivers and to call this here. Now we need to opening this and to send here one message, and here also not clear this message because we need to this user cannot clear this data, that's why not clear here. Manually user can clear, then possible to clears. And now need to send here the file and like this and to receive this okay, not an issue. And also update this one message, need to calling this opens again in this now need to send here the 6, check this now working good, move and first row here. Another message need to send this the 3, update this the message as well as the update here the base counts. We need to update like this, need to calling this and again need to open and send here to message to click on back that here for get sears, but maybe to force restart for this updating. Go settings, need to support message. Now try here. Now here working, maybe not restart this course, that's why not working here. Also need to click on back, open this message and to write down here ends, save this now receive here. Both are the possible to update this data. If you like this video, please give the thumbs up. If you're new user, so please subscribe my channels and press the notification bell icon. You can get every new video notifications and awesome content. If you have any question, so please write down the comment sections. I will help you and sort out your issue. Everyone have a nice day. Goodbye and take care.